Hi, welcome to this video of International Information System. This video will help you to understand the important components of business process outsourcing activities and managing balance between internal and international standards and systems. At the end of this video, you will be able to explain international information systems, define outsourcing and offshoring. So, international information systems is a basis of trade and global transaction which provides the organizations to create a platform for exchanging business services across the border. So now, if I am talking about international information system, actually I am talking about 3.5 billion users working on the internet, which means an exchange of 83 exabytes of global traffic happening each month. So from this volume of transaction, you can find out what is the level of communication or exchange of data is happening every day. Now let's talk about a company. When we talk about ArcelorMittal, which is present in 60 countries. So think about the kind of transaction is happening within that organization which is spanned in such huge geography. So now if I am spread across multiple locations and using an information system, that would reduce my transaction cost significantly. So that is the reason many firms export textiles, chemicals or software, auto parts to different parts of the world. And they create offices as legal entities to foreign countries. And the firms are known as multinationals, like Infosys in India or Taj Hotels for that matter, have been able to establish their brand worldwide, and they have set up their offices almost all big cities in the world. Now there is a clear-cut distinction between who is multinational and who is transnational. So in a multinational organization, the headquarters is located in one country and the remaining countries carry the regional offices, and which is managed from the headquarters. In a transnational organization, each country has a headquarters and it works as a separate legal entity, but they have a communication among themselves. Now we talk about the export and import oriented firms. So what they do is basically interact with their clients, understand delivery schedules and exchange of documents and transfer of monies. That's what they perform. And what do? They try to become a member of the supply chain of the firm they are collaborating with, and they try to make them part of their own supply chain. And they have to maintain the systems, comply with the demand of supply schedules of the client's enterprise system. Now that is a very interesting thing to understand, that when your client is having a different type of system, so you need to scale up to that level in order to partner with them. So therefore, the data sharing across this communication channels are becoming predominantly very important. So let's say we talk about a company who is interacting across the border with another partner. So currency exchange becomes a very critical issue, because you need to exchange in different denominations of currency. So as of now, the US dollar considered to be a common currency for exchange. Then you have a language issue, because multiple organizations have multiple linguistic challenges which need to be overcome, having the local language as a medium of communication. Then you have the timestamp, as a matter of fact, where you try to communicate with the organization with a recording of time intervals, how you are trying to communicate with them. And then you have the legal requirements need to be fulfilled when two companies across the border are communicating, in terms of sharing of legal entities, and the legal procedures need to be followed. Now across national borders, there is a requirement of shared understanding of nature on tasks, because if two companies from different countries need to collaborate, they need to respect each other's policies and the legal framework. Next, we jump onto the outsourcing activity. So, outsourcing has always been the strength of our Indian tech firms, where they have developed their strength in outsourcing the activities to other countries or importing the tasks of major IT majors to their home country, and thus they have been able to generate revenue for themselves. So, outsourcing activity refers to moving some processes from the core activity to a partner, to a vendor. Now, outsourcing contracts specify the nature of the task, the manner in which it has to be executed, and the manner of payment also. The tasks are very clear-cut, the payment modes are very clear-cut, mandated in a legal document. And once outsourcing is practiced, the basic agenda always remains to reduce the cost and acquiring expertise. So, vendors who are specialized in certain type of activities can bring down the cost of transaction, hence they are preferred over regular practices, so that you can concentrate on your core activities and the vendors can take care of your outsourcing activities. Next, we talk about the offshoring activity. So, in offshoring, what we get to see is that some processes, some business processes are sent to overseas or some other country. So, primarily the objective is to take the cost advantage. So, from countries like US and European countries where the cost of labor is very, very high, so they are actually offshored to countries where cheap labor is available, like India, where predominantly the people, the workforce is well trained and they command less price. So, therefore, the final delivery of the product remains very, very competitive in terms of price. So, we will talk about some examples here. Let's say the vendors, the outsourcing vendors in Bangalore, what they could do, they can see the data and applications, the systems from their outsourcing partner based out of US in real time and fix the problem. So, once they have outsourced the activity to India, so clients in US actually save a huge transaction cost. Now, many organizations for that matter have outsourced their customer response team or customer care department to the call centers, where they need to give a very limited amount compared to their own setup. So, in a way, the companies actually are saving that money and the benefit is passed on to the customers, so that the cost advantage remains with the company. Now, system development teams works with the outsourced vendors who are offshore by communicating through online medium or sometimes social media, so that the channel of communication is never broken, but however, the distance, the geography actually helps in reducing the cost. Now, for some clients in US, calls for fixing the software bugs or online support on applications are logged on shared servers and managed from some remote country, where some technician or some engineer who commands lesser price but with better quality can ensure the job to be done, which brings down the cost of service significantly. In this video, you learned that in a world now connected by the internet, the basis of trade and global transactions is international information systems. Just in terms of trade, the value of transaction crosses over $1 trillion per day. Many organizations, especially commercial firms, now have a global footprint, which means they have a presence in many countries around the world. Some firms maintain entirely different entities in different countries on the world, including separate headquarters in some countries. And finally, international information systems arises from shared processes, where processes have to cross borders and legal requirements. In this video, you understood the importance of business process outsourcing activities as per domestic or international standards.